to Unfiltered Friendship. Each and every week, bring you uncontrollable laughter, rants, and figuring out what the fuck we are doing with our lives. Because frankly, none of us know, apart from Bailey. There is explicit content if you don't like it.
Don't fuck a left hand.
Bailey.
Correct.
Correct. How are you, boys?
Correct. I mean, I'm fine.
You fine?
Yeah. Pretty chill.
That's good.
This is good?
That's very good.
Can we go back onto the discussion of my raft of death, please? I don't want a rubber dinghy.
Yeah, but how do you know? You'll be dead.
I would like a raft, not a rubber dinghy.
How about a £1 B&Q bucket?
No, because then you can't set me on fire in that.
Put some
Depends
twigs
what
in
I
the
put
bottom.
in the bucket.
Yeah, but if you put me in a bucket, I'll sink.
What about a griller tub then? They're a bit bigger.
No.
Or a kiddie pool?
Oh, yeah, no, because that's the same as a fucking rubber dinghy.
It's not. It's plastic.
Courtney said, what about a lilo yesterday?
I don't know what the fuck that is.
A lilo, you know what you put on a
Beds.
swimming pool? The beds that you put on a swimming pool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's doable.
I want a wooden raft, thank you.
Only if you leave one to us in your will.
Leave what?
A wooden raft.
I haven't got a wooden raft.
Neither do I. So how are we going to burn you one?
Oh. Okay, right, let's go on with this episode. This is your true crime episode. I just thought I'd have to clarify that I want a raft and not a dinghy. So this week we are talking about a family. A dysfunctional family that ended in tragedy for all of them, but one mystery that still surrounds the case. This is the story of the Powell family.
My teacher's second name in primary school was Powell.
I think I had one somewhere along the line as well.
Oh no.
I know. So, I'm going to start things off a bit differently. I am going to start at the end of this horrific story. It will make sense. Okay? February 5th, 2012, a social worker, Elizabeth Griffin Hall, was taking Charlie, 7 years old, and Braden, 5 years old, on a supervised visit to their father, which she had done a couple times already, but they had always done those visits in a public setting. However, because of the family's notoriety, they had been ordered to move these visits to the father's home. Charlie and Braden had actually been removed from their father's custody and were living with their maternal grandparents at the time. So as you can expect, these two little boys were super excited to see their father. As soon as they arrived, the boys jumped out the car whilst Elizabeth was trying to gather the bag load of files she had to carry so she could do her thing whilst at the visit, you know, update notes and all that palaver. So she was behind them a little bit when the boys got to the door and their dad welcomes them in. He looks at Elizabeth with a smirk, and this man, Josh Powell, the father of these two little boys, slams the door in Elizabeth's face. Panic surges through her body because as soon as that door shuts, she got a whiff of gasoline coming from inside the house. Elizabeth knows this family and knows the case she has been dealing with. She understands the urgency that this has created, so she calls 911. But before I'm going to get you to hear what happened and the whole story leading up to it, we will rewind and give you some backstory. So, Josh Powell, born in 1976 in Washington to Steve and Terry Powell. He had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. His parents actually got divorced when he was 16, and not gonna lie, did get ugly on that divorce. They got married in the Church of the Latter-day Saints, but eventually, Josh's father, Steve, became very delusioned by the church. Not to mention he was a fucking creep. I'll get onto that.
Oh,
Kelly filler?
No.
I didn't think you said fiddler then.
No. Josh did not have a very good example when it comes to marriages. Terry said that she wanted full custody of their children after the divorce because it was known that Steve exposed at least their sons to pornography. But it never goes how everyone wants, right? Terry got custody of the girls. Steve got custody of the boys. But eventually one of the girls did move in with Steve. So even though he was showing the boys the porn, he got custody of the boys. Make it make sense. Can I just say that it didn't help their marriage that Steve thought they had every right to marry someone else too. It didn't happen, but he wanted to.
What the hell?
Yeah. Anyway, when Josh was growing up, there was speculation that Creepy Steve, I'm calling him Creepy Steve from here on out, okay? You would understand why. There was speculation that Creepy Steve would be violent, especially towards Josh. Josh. Beating him and singling him out, mostly. And all of this from his father didn't help with his ever-deteriorating mental state. Josh was rumoured to kill their family gerbils, which belonged to his sisters, and eventually threatened to kill his mother with a butcher knife because she wanted him to do the dishes.
Hey.
When he was 13, Josh actually attempted suicide by hanging. So his childhood was a very crappy one, to say the least. Oh, I had a lovely breeze then. That was nice.
The breeze gets nice in here, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It seems like most of the time the breeze comes from that direction, so...
It's very nice, I like it. Fast forward a few years to 2000s, and Josh was living in Tacoma as a student, and in November he held a party for his classmates at the Latter-day Saints religion course. That is a thing. There is where he met Susan Cox. They started this whirlwind romance, and by the end of April 2001, they got married. Susan just 19 years old at the time. So they met in November, got married in the following April. What's funny is a few of Susan's friends actually said that they thought Susan started dating Josh because she felt sorry for him, and actually think that them dating was actually a term called missionary dating. Have you guys ever heard of missionary dating?
Is it where you get something out of it?
No. So missionary dating is basically, say for instance, I was, right, Bailey, if we were dating, right, say I was religious, you wasn't, but you understood it, right?
Oh, is it just to have a shag?
No, it's basically, it's like I would be dating you to make you religious.
Oh.
Yeah, that's missionary dating. It's weird, right? Yeah. For the first few years of their marriage, things were actually pretty good. After a while, they moved in with Creepy Steve to lessen their living expenses, which wasn't very helpful to their marriage as things started deteriorating. Now, it's Creepy Steve, and he was always seen with a camcorder in his hands, literally capturing everything that goes on. Everything. He's not seen without this thing. Creepy Steve quickly became infatuated with Susan, and it got obsessive. He followed her around the house with his camcorder. He used a small mirror to spy on her while she used the bathroom. He stole her underwear out of the laundry. He read her diaries and posted love songs online about her. Susan actually told her friends that she caught Steve watching her change, and he also tried to sneak in the bathroom when she was showering. She even disclosed to her friends that he groped her a few times. Living up to the name Creepy Steve yet?
Yeah, doing well.
Doing well for Creepy Steve, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All just to cut down on bills.
But that's not the most wild thing about this. Susan told Josh about all of this, and he actually blamed Susan for seducing his dad.
Bitch.
I know. I know. I know. It does get weirder. Not just yet, yo. No. Oh my god, words, George. Susan had enough, and she could tell the more time she spent with Josh and the more time Josh spent with his dad, the worse he became. So they ended up just packing up, left, and moved to West Valley, Utah. Bad move.
Oh.
Babe, are you okay, babe?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I got my earring stuck in my ear.
Oh, is it okay?
Hopefully.
Is that your tragus?
Yeah.
Wait, it's in.
It's in your ear.
Yeah.
It's in your ear.
Not that in yet. There you go. I got it.
Fucking Jesus.
What the fuck? What the hell?
It's not the first time someone.
What
What
the
the helly? Fuck's sake. She said it outside.
Yeah,
And I
I've
just looked
seen
at
it
her
on
like,
TikTok.
why the fuck?
I've seen it on TikTok. Right, are we good now, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Okay. Susan took up a job as a cosmetologist and later had their two sons, Charles in 2005 and Braden in 2007. Susan gained friends through their church and was loved by a lot of people. Josh, on the other hand, was described as a bit of a clinger. Sort of just on the outskirts of everything, not really getting involved. But when he did, he would sort of take over a conversation and not let anyone else talk. He was one of those dudes.
Passionate.
No, he just would not let anyone, he would just overrun the conversation. Like, even if someone wanted to talk, he'd just speak over them. The real description of Josh from her friends is that he was, quote, legendarily controlling of Susan. He controlled everything Susan done. She wasn't allowed to use her family car without his permission. He tracked every penny she spent. After every shopping trip, get this, after every shopping trip, she had to log every single item and their price on a spreadsheet. Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah. That's literally like, say, if you went shopping, you'd have to come home to Bailey and Bailey would be like, right, all on a spreadsheet. Name and price.
What the fuck?
You wouldn't, would you?
No.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm taking the card away.
That's why I'm gonna headbutt you.
You've been spending too much, Mace.
Bitch, I ain't been spending shit.
Josh even restricted what Susan and the boys were allowed to eat. He even said that the boys already get one... Right, he said this. The boys already get one meal at daycare. Why should he feed them two?
What? What the fuck?
Yep. Stand-up guy, right?
Well, you don't want your kids getting fat.
He's very comedic.
No, it got to a point where Susan and the boys were actually fucking starving. The boys were crying where they were so hungry. Josh wouldn't let them eat anything. When Josh was out, Susan had to go to a neighbour and get some hot dogs just to be able to feed the boys. Because there was no food in the house because he wouldn't let her feed them. Yeah. A bit horrible, to be honest. Susan was in therapy and she tried to get Josh to go with her, and he did. He went, didn't participate, then stopped going altogether. As you can imagine, things were getting worse in Susan's eyes. She said to her therapist and to her friends that by their anniversary, if things don't get any better with him and his attitude, his behaviour, she's gone. There's actually one video. It weirded me out, this video. I'm not going to show you guys it because it's weird. Susan made a video sort of documenting their belongings. No, I'm not going to... It's like fucking long. It's so long. Some say it was to show damage done. Some say it was to show what was in their house. Some say she was doing it because she was told to before she files for divorce, just to show that if Josh turned around and said that they had no money, she can prove that he has like a lot of IT equipment and stuff that's actually worth quite a bit. And everything that she was pointing at was Josh's. Nothing belonged to her. But the thing that got me the most is every now and then, she would come across things like a hole in the wall, or she had this sort of like a, what's it called? Like a jewelry box thing on her dressing table and stuff. And she literally turned around and she was like, oh yeah, Josh broke that. Josh broke that. Josh broke that. And so that. And like, it's just like, yeah, he got angry and broke that. He got angry and broke that. It broke my heart because it sounded like it was like the most normal thing to her. She's like, yeah, it was weird. Anyway, after some time, Susan actually told Josh that she was unhappy in their marriage, and he said over his dead body would he let her leave with his boys. So she stayed. On the morning of December 6th, 2009, Susan took Charles and Braden to church and walked home with a neighbour. Oh, so she didn't have the car. She wasn't allowed the car, was she? Yeah. Another neighbour visited them in the afternoon until Susan said she wanted to take a nap around 5 p.m. And that is the last time anyone outside of the Powell family saw Susan. The next morning, the daycare that Charlie and Braden go to noticed that the boys were late. They did note that if Susan was dropping the boys off, they would be on time every time. She was like clockwork, that woman. But if it was Josh, they would turn up at any time in the morning. He didn't give a fucking shit. But this time, the boys didn't show up at all. So the woman from the daycare started calling Susan and Josh's jobs. But turns out they didn't show up for their jobs either that day. So the woman started calling the emergency contacts, which are Josh's sisters who live with his mum. But no one knows where Josh or Susan are. His sisters were like, we have no clue. Like, we haven't heard from any of them. So eventually, they called the police for a wellness check. Love that the police can do this. And they gave the police full permission to knock down that bloody door if they have to. And because they feared that, because there was a lot of carbon monoxide poisoning happening around that time in that area. So they were like, oh shit, have they died in their sleep from carbon monoxide poisoning? So the police broke down that fucking door and the house is empty. The other thing is, though, there was 2 box fans, you know, like the big ass, like industrial square shit. 2 of them pointing at a wet spot on the carpet. No one could get a hold of Josh or Susan until 6-ish p.m. that night when Josh and the boys pulled up on their driveway. Josh eventually goes to the police station and tells them that him and the boys are fine. He literally had his neighbours going, dude, where the fuck have you been? You need to go to the police station and be like, I'm fine, I'm okay. Like, the boys are okay. Of course, the police ask him where he's been. And he says, around 5 or 6 p.m. the day before, he took the boys sledding in the middle of a blizzard, okay? So they were sledding, okay? They got home and watched a movie. But around midnight, the boys wanted s'mores. So he took them camping in Utah in December in the middle of a fucking blizzard. Can I just point out the boys are 2 and 4 at this point?
Yeah. What the fuck?
You don't do that. You don't do that.
No.
So they go to a campground, which is around 2 hours from where they live. The police are going along with the story, but they're not buying any of it. But they had to ask why he didn't call into work. This fucking prick turns around. Do you know what he says? He was like, oh, is today Monday? I thought yesterday was Saturday. I didn't think I had work today.
Oh.
This fucking prick.
I mean, to be fair, we've all done it at some point. Except we've actually gone to work afterwards, but like...
I keep thinking it's Thursday today.
I kept thinking it was Thursday today as well.
I thought it was Wednesday today. Oh, wait.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to be involved.
Okay. Unknown to Josh, the police had already dispatched officers to the campground that Josh has said to see if they were actually there and built that fire. Because if someone built a fire, there would be evidence of that, right? There is one more thing worrying police, though. Susan. Like, where is she? They asked Josh if he knows where Susan is, and he said, oh, she's probably at work, but the police are like, no, dude, we fucking checked. She's not at work, she's not at home, you don't know where she is, no one else knows where the fuck she is. Do you, like, what's going on? But Josh doesn't really react. He's got nothing. He says that he'll check in with some friends and family, no biggie. The police, however, decide to file Susan as a missing person and ask Josh to come back in for a formal interview the following day. So Josh goes back in the next day for his interview, but it was pretty much the same questions, which means Josh gave the same answers. The police still aren't convinced though, so they issue a search warrant for the house. Love a good search warrant. In the meantime, both sides of the family are supporting Josh and doing everything they can to try and find Susan, which is very strange to me, because normally in a missing persons, you always look to the husband or whatever, don't you? And for Susan's family to be like, no, we're still backing Josh. Weird.
I believe well, from what I can gather, he had a weird family anyway. So.
No, I mean like Susan's family.
Oh,
they were
shit,
supporting.
Yeah, but it depends on if they put up a good image. So to that her family, he.
No, they didn't like him.
Completely innocent.
They never liked Josh. Ever. And yet they're still backing him, supporting him. Yeah, but then it was also, he's probably putting on the front of, like, Mr. Nice Guy, like, oh, my wife's missing, all this fucking bollocks.
Yeah.
So a week goes by and the police invited Josh back for a third interview. But Josh understands that the police thinks he's done something to Susan, so he hired an attorney and doesn't attend. But he does agree to give them a DNA sample, like get the police off his back a little bit. Unfortunately, the case inevitably starts getting cold. Susan isn't popping up anywhere. There's no sign of her whatsoever. The police still don't have a good feeling about Josh, but they can't do anything with just a feeling. They need like that solid evidence of being like he's actually done
Did
it.
they ever question the kids?
The kids, not that I could find. They were only 2 and 4. There's nothing really that they would have been able to say anyway.
The 4-year-old probably could have said.
They could have done, but I don't think not that I found out they spoke to the kids. Because of everything that's going on and all the stress that Josh is being put under, he gets fired from his job and decides to move in with his dad full time. And by the end of January, the house has been completely emptied and moved up to Josh's dad's home in Washington. Basically, Josh's brother came and helped him pack everything up, ship him out to Washington. This doesn't stop police from trying to investigate, and a search warrant for the minivan that Josh supposedly took with him and the boys when they went camping. Other police personnel were scouring Utah for any sign or trace of Susan. Nothing came of the minivan search or any of the other searches. His minivan was clean. So, I forgot you had ducks back there.
We don't.
No, I know you don't, but it's in the pond. Is it in the pond?
Yeah, he has a hutch for all his chickens and ducks.
Right. So, in February, Susan's friends hold a press conference and decide this was the perfect opportunity to expose the truth to Josh and Susan's relationship. I know.
Dun dun dun. I mean, dun 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Do 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 do. Fuck's sake. They say about Susan being afraid of Josh. She was absolutely fucking petrified of that guy. His control towards her, his demeaning approach to anything she does, and most importantly, Susan's word that she would leave Josh if his behaviour didn't change by their anniversary in April. This obviously makes everyone see this fucking monster that Josh is, which makes people distance themselves from him. So Susan's family actually eventually now decide to distance themselves from him, but they can't fully cut him off because of the grandkids. Throughout the year, multiple searches and interviews are conducted, but nothing ever comes from it. That is until the first anniversary of Susan's disappearance. Josh and his dad, Creepy Steve, do an interview where they claim that Susan was actually having a long-term affair with a local journalist who so happened to go missing around the same time as Susan, and they had run off to Brazil together. But as you can imagine, there's nothing at all in the world that supports this claim that Josh and his dad said. Plus, let's not forget the fact that Josh was super controlling over Susan, so he would have proof somewhere that this happened.
And if he was so controlling, how did she get away with it? If that was the
Exactly.
case?
Yeah, exactly. Like, she would not have been able to do anything. She couldn't do anything without his permission.
No.
So how would she have been able to go and have a fucking long-term affair with this guy? It just doesn't make fucking sense. Josh and Steve actually started a website called the Official Website of Susan Powell. What would you think that is?
Like a Go Help Me page?
Like for the missing
Go
people?
Help,
Yeah. No.
It was just
No.
slagathon.
Huh?
It was like just a slagathon.
Yeah, it was fucking disgusting. So it was saying slanderous things about her and saying what type of mother she was. Basically saying how she hated her children and hated her life in Utah and how she was just an awful, terrible person. A full-on character assassination. Full on. From her husband and her father-in-law.
That makes him look more guilty, because if leading up to it he was putting on a show to make them look good, and then all of a sudden, as soon as she's missing, he's like trying to ruin her image,
Yeah.
then it just looks like he's trying to hide something.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does. About 6 months after this, Josh and Steve decide to publish Susan's childhood and teenage diaries to expose what a quote-unquote sexual deviant she was. Remember, this man's wife is missing.
Yeah.
He's doing this. Remember also, when Josh and Susan lived with Steve, she felt super uncomfortable around Steve, didn't she?
Yeah.
Well, Creepy Steve lives up to his name once again. He's saying that she was trying to seduce him the whole time. He also said that they had a sort of, get this, father-in-law, daughter-in-law flirting and maybe some sexual touching.
Involuntary sexual touching.
But you don't have that relationship with your in-laws
No.
at all. Not at all.
No.
No. That's like you having sexual touching and flirting with Mike.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, no. No. So, that was a bad move of them,
Yeah.
completely. Because both Utah police and Washington police get a search warrant for Steve's home. It gets worse.
Whoa.
As they carried out the warrant, the police came across files after files and a shit ton of hard drives of Steve's full of child pornography. Mason, put your eyes back in your head. I know.
I knew it.
You knew
I
it.
did say it.
No, you said was he a kiddie fiddler? He's not a kiddie fiddler, he's just got a shit ton of child porn.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. He was into kids, is what.
Right, I understand what you're saying now. Okay. So Steve is arrested and charged with 14 counts of voyeurism, child pornography, and it goes on and on and on. So he's in prison. And this is evidently the thing that got Charlie and Braden taken off from Josh. So they're no longer Josh's custody, and they got re-released into Susan's parents' care. At this point, the boys are 4 and 6, and their behaviour has just gotten so bad. Like, they would be physically violent towards each other. They had seen the boys every now and... So the grandparents had seen the boys every now and then, but not as much as they would like, because Josh, he wouldn't let them be around... There we go. The people that raised their mother, and he despised her. Yeah. At one point, Charlie drew a picture and was showing everyone his amazing art. He was pointing out everything like, here's Daddy, here's Charlie, here's Brayden. And then he said something that sent chills up everyone's spine. He said, and Mummy's in the trunk.
Told you. They should have asked them.
Should have asked him. Now, Josh still had parental rights over the boys because it was like the in-between of the custody switch. But before he could regain full custody of the 2 boys, he had to undergo extensive parental and psychological evaluations. But the police then found simulated child pornography on Josh's computer. Do you know what simulated pornography is?
I'm assuming it's like just Photoshop.
No, it's sort of like cartoon-ish. It's like sort of the drawing cartoons sort of thing. It's not actual children, but it's made to look like children.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's weird though, right? And because they weren't technically photos of actual children, there was nothing illegal about it. So the police couldn't do anything. But they did order a psychosexual evaluation on Josh, too. So they had to do parental, a mental person's evaluation, and now a psychosexual one. Okay. Even after all this, Josh was still granted frequent supervised visits with Charlie and Brayden. The social worker was acting as sort of a go-between between Josh and Susan's family, because Susan's dad and Josh actually ended up with restraining orders against each other, because on multiple times they would beat the living shit out of each other. I can't blame Susan's dad, to be honest, because his little girl's missing and this dude's not doing anything to help.
No.
And this is how we get back to how we started the story, right? So Josh slammed the door in the social worker Elizabeth's face. Remember, she smelled gasoline?
Yeah.
She tries the door handle, but it's locked, and she can hear the boys yelling. She's banging on the door, screaming out to them, yelling for Josh to open the door. So she decides to call 911. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will play you some snippets of it because it's 10 minutes long, this clip. So I'll play you some of it.
Reporting. Hey, I'm on a supervised visitation for a court-ordered visit, and something really weird has happened. The kids went into the house, and the parent, the biological parent, whose name is Josh Powell, will not let me in the door. What should I do?
What's the address?
It's 8119, and I think it's 89th. I don't know what the address is.
Okay, that's pretty important for me to know.
Sorry, I can't. Just a minute. Let me get in my car and see if I can find it. Nothing like this has ever happened before at these visitations, so I'm really shocked. And I could hear one of the kids crying, but he still wouldn't let me in. Okay, it is.
Right? So you can hear the panic in her voice, can't you?
Yeah.
But I think I need help right away. He's on a very short lease with CSHS, and CPS has been involved. And this is the craziest thing. He looked right at me and closed the door. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm just waiting to know where you are.
Okay. It's 8119 189th Street, Court East, Puyallup, 98375. And I'd like to pull out of the driveway because I smell gasoline and he won't let me in.
You want to pull out of the driveway because you smell gasoline, but he won't let
I
you.
smell. He won't let me in.
He won't let you out of the driveway.
He won't let me in the house.
Whose house
Got
is
the
it?
kids in the house and he won't let me in. It's a supervised visit.
I understand. Whose house is it?
Josh Powell.
Okay, so you don't live there, right?
No, I don't. No, I'm contracted to the state to provide supervised visitation.
I see. Okay. And who is there to exercise their visitation?
I am. And the visit is with Josh Powell.
And who
And he
supervises?
is the husband that I supervise.
So you supervise and you're doing the visit?
Yeah,
You're
I
supervising
supervise
yourself?
I supervise myself. I'm the supervisor here.
Wait a minute. If it's a supervised visit, you can't supervise yourself. If you're the
I
visitor.
do supervise myself. I'm the supervisor for the supervised visit.
Okay, well, aren't you the one making the visit? Or is there another
I'm the
parent
one-
that you're supervising?
No, I'm the one that supervises. I pick up the kids as their grandparent.
Yes. And then who visits with the children?
Josh Powell.
That fucking stupid ass fucking operator, he just couldn't figure out. He could not figure out what the fuck was going on. Yes, that guy is so fucking stupid.
To be fair, he could have been having like one of those days where you get to the point where you're like,
No. So remember, this case is the biggest case to hit that area in years. Their name is very well known in that area now. Hence why they've had to move from a public meeting and all that lot to private, because their names got just so fucking big. Elizabeth's trying to explain to this dude, like, she smells gas, she's scared for the boys. After 6 minutes on the phone, the operator says that he's sending someone. So Elizabeth asks how long they're going to be. Do you want to hear his response?
oh god.
You both like, oh God.
Okay, how long will it be?
I don't know, ma'am. They have to respond to emergency, life-threatening situations first. The first available deputy
Well,
is
this
responding.
could be life-threatening. He went to court on Wednesday, and he didn't get his kids back. And this is really, I'm afraid for their lives.
Okay, has he threatened the lives of the children previously?
I have no idea.
All right. We'll have the first available deputy contact you.
Thank you.
Bye.
So eventually she gives up on this dude. She's like, you're not helping me. You're not doing anything for me. This could be life-threatening. I've told you, I've smelt gasoline. I'm afraid for these boys' lives. So she hangs up. Shortly after hanging up, the house explodes.
Hello?
Hi, ma'am. Were you calling about the fire in the 8200 block
Yes,
on
he
88th Street,
exploded
Courtney?
the house.
Ma'am,
Yes,
do you know
he
the
exploded the house.
okay? Do you know the exact address of the house, or are you?
Yes, it's 8119 189th Street, Court East,
Okay.
2 hours.
Okay, stand line. Do you know if anyone's in the house?
Yes, there was a man and
Okay.
2 children. I just dropped off the children, and he wouldn't let me in the door.
Okay, stand line for the fire department. Okay, I'm going to get them on the line. Do not hang up. Hold on.
Roughly 13 minutes later, emergency services arrive and eventually control the fire, but it's too late. Josh, Charlie, and Braden are all dead. Autopsies revealed that both the boys had hatchet marks on their heads and necks, and it's revealed that the hatchet marks wasn't their cause of death. It was actually smoke inhalation. So Josh hit these 2 young boys with a hatchet and set the house alight. It was actually later found that Josh emailed his custody attorney and family and friends that he's sorry for everyone that he had hurt, and goodbye. A lot of people were thinking that the emails and messages to everyone was pretty much him sort of admitting,
That sounds like an admittance, to be fair.
like, to Susan's
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Because you don't, to everyone that you hurt, you haven't really hurt anyone at this point. Well, until he blew up the house with his kids in it, but...
Bloody hell.
Ming, and how he just pretty much got like, his kids to the brink of death, and then just decided, you're not going to die with this hatchet, I'm just going to blow you up instead.
I think his thing was, it doesn't really matter. He was a fucking disgusting man, and he knew that he would never get his kids back because eventually people would figure out what he's done, if he had done anything. So, for him...
It was like, if I can't have them, no one can.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're innocent, you don't do something like that.
No.
Exactly. As well, like, with the hatchet marks, like, he was going to blow up the house anyway. Like, the smell
That
of...
was just torturous.
Yeah. Like, there was no need for him to do that to the boys at all. Like, the doors were locked. The boys couldn't get out. And yet, he still had to do that to them? For what reason?
I wonder if that's what the screaming was when she was on the phone.
Maybe. Possibly. But when she was trying to open the door and stuff.
Yeah, and heard them screaming. It was already started.
Maybe, possibly. Yeah. The story ends there, really. Pretty much. The case for Susan was still open for another year, but the police are adamant that it was Josh that killed Susan, but they could never prove it, and now they can never prosecute him anyway.
No.
And they really don't believe that she would walk away from her life, especially not leaving Charlie and Braden with Josh,
No.
knowing what he was like.
No, a parent wouldn't do that.
No.
Wow. Unless you're Josh, that is.
Unless you're Josh. There was some speculation into Josh's brothers too. His brother helped him move from Utah to Washington. Literally right after that, the car that his brother had, he sold to salvage. So they couldn't have got anything from that anyway.
But at the same time, the police had already gone into the house and they couldn't find anything there. So obviously he's taken a trip with the boys to sled and then go camping.
Quotation marks.
And buried her somewhere that no one will be able to find her.
Yeah, but the police are thinking that because they didn't get any evidence from Josh's minivan, did they? So they're thinking that possibly Josh's brother got roped in. They put Susan in Josh's brother's car and then dumped her somewhere. But they can't find it now anyway because it's demolished, basically.
But if that was the case, why were the boys taken as well?
Well, they couldn't exactly stay in the house on their own, could they? They were too and full.
What? Why would he have cared?
Yeah, he wouldn't
He'd
have
happily
cared.
kill his children.
It's very
so.
true. It's very true. Yeah, I don't know. But then you got to think probably in his head, if he left the kids on their own, someone would have known. Someone would have found out. Because you got to think he was away for 24 hours.
True. That is true.
And the boys could not have fended for themselves from 2 and 4. And someone would have known, the boys would have been taken off of him. So this would have happened a lot sooner. So, anyway. So yeah, they think that's how there's no trace of Susan in Josh's minivan. A year after Josh murdered himself and his sons, his brother jumps off a 7-story parking garage and died. No suicide note, nothing. So Susan is still out there, or her body, at least. And no one will ever find out what really happened unless something comes up.
There's not likely to be anything that comes up.
No.
And his dad is dead, I assume?
Steve? No. Yes, now he is. He did get released from prison. Creepy Steve. Got released from prison. He got out, I think it was late 80s, I think he was, and he just died of natural causes at home.
Okay, so this was before children went boom.
No, it was after. He died afterwards.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well,
So
cool.
he was still in prison when all this was happening. I think he was still in prison when his other son committed suicide as well.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. But then it comes to the question of, obviously I know that what happens in your childhood really affects your adulthood. I fucking understand that. I've gone through it. I understand that. Obviously not to that extent. But is that a reason why Josh became who he was? Because he saw the influence of Steve.
a child is very much affected by how their parents are. So
Yeah.
I think that is a massive factor into why he was the way he was. But even in saying that, he could have also had some neurological conditions as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Seeing as he was happily going and killing the gerbils, threatening his mum.
That is literally like the makings of a psychopath.
You start with animals. They start with animals, don't they? Serial killers and stuff like that, psychopaths and that. To start killing is known that they start small.
Yeah.
Like you can start with an ant and work your way up to, say, gerbils, then dogs, then bigger and bigger, and then you get to humans. And you just and you fucking just carry on with humans until you get caught. But there was actually a woman before Susan that Josh dated, only for a little while because she saw how controlling he was, and they weren't dating for very long at all. And she was like, "Nah, I'm out," and she left. Yeah, she left quite quickly in their relationship, and it actually wasn't long after that Josh found Susan. So do you think that? What I don't understand is obviously his control. I don't understand where that's come from.
No.
Because his dad wasn't really controlling over his mum. He just wanted to go and get married to another woman. It just confuses the fuck out of me. Go on, babe.
I mean, it's not completely all based on what your parents are like.
No,
No,
absolutely
no.
not. Absolutely
Like-
not.
I've got 3 siblings, and we've all been brought up the same.
Yeah.
And all 4 of us are very different. We've got our similarities, but like there are certain things we all do completely different.
Yeah.
But we've been brought up the exact same.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. You've all got your own opinion and take on the world. So.
But it's also the case of, like, with me and my sister, we were brought up differently. Same household, but brought up differently. We are completely different people.
Yeah.
Like, you could not get more polar opposites than me and my sister. But then,
But
They're-
one's gay.
well, one's gay, one's married with 3 kids.
Yeah.
Like, by the time my sister was my age, she already had her 3rd kid. Like, that weirds me out a little bit. But it's like you with your siblings, Mace. Same household, brought up somewhat the same, apart from obviously Kate. But you guys are different.
Yeah.
So it very much does come down to your personality, like who you are inside anyway. But then you get that influential part from your parents.
I think if you have like the same amount of siblings as what me and Bailey do, you notice a pattern within like everyone's siblings.
Really?
It's like the second one is always the bastard.
Fuck you.
The first one is always all right, not too
The
bad.
experiment.
Yeah. The third one is pretty chill, I guess. And then the last one's
The golden child.
Yeah. I can
But
see that in
also-
both your families, yeah.
but also an absolute.
Well, it
dick
used to be
sometimes.
the 3rd until the 4th came. So my younger brother was like the good one.
Oh, really?
I would always get in trouble. But as we've gotten older, they're more aware that no, he was a little shit stirrer.
I think that's one thing in my family that's slightly different is it never went straight to Caitlin being the golden child ever. Because they knew how much of a bastard she was.
Yeah, but she's still a golden child, isn't she? Though?
No. She's not. At all. Believe me, she's not.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you would say you are.
Compared to
Out
all
of
the
all
others.
of them, yeah, Mason is.
I mean, Mason's the best out of the bunch,
He's
I
the
will
goody
say.
two-shoes.
No, he's the best out of the bunch.
And a goody two-shoes.
And a goody two-shoes a little bit, yeah.
Bitch.
People pleaser as well. Yeah. Oh, you
They're
are,
not bad
Mason.
things.
It's not bad.
You don't want to just not please people.
You don't want to just be like me and tell people to fuck off all the time because they piss you off.
That sounds like fun.
It's not, because then everyone starts to hate you.
And
To be fair, in my head, a lot of the time, I'm just like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. But in my speaking, I'm like, oh, hi, it's nice to meet you. And
I do that most of the time, but
other way around.
yeah. In my head, I'm like, I should really be really nice to this person.
And you're just sort of like, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off.
I literally end up saying, okay, please fuck off, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
I say that in work all the time.
And I can do both.
Yeah, you're one of those I can.
I can be very nice, and especially if you're a nice person, I'll be nice. But I can either fake it or I'll just straight up tell you you're a prick.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so to conclude, parents do influence, but you are your own person, so you can't blame. There's no blame game going on with it. But obviously, if you get brought up the same way as Josh did, you're bound to be a bit fucked in the head.
Yeah.
You need to be fair.
Yeah, you're not going to be perfect.
No.
But you go to school and you're surrounded by other kids, so it's not all parents, it's schools as
Yeah.
well. And
Oh yeah, fucking I know.
Kids. Parents, kids, everything influences them.
Like most of the things that's influenced me, I reckon, is from school.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like the reasons I don't like speaking when I'm out, or the amount of deodorant I put on, and my confidence, that's all been changed from school. Like the big
Really?
things.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I never liked talking to people before.
Yeah, but it's sort of your job now, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It was only when I
Oh, he
started.
sets me right up on the weekend.
Oh God,
Grabbing
what?
the washing machine.
I could not be bothered to talk to a person.
That's not what was the problem. There was like 6 of all the staff all together, and he felt well outmatched.
Yeah.
To talk to
Now,
someone.
I've got confidence, but when there's a fucking group
Yeah,
of
I
people,
stay well aware.
Yeah.
I'm fucking off.
But all you got to do is sort of just look, make eye contact with at least one and smile, and then they'll go, "Are you okay?" That's all. And then
Some
once
of them don't. Some of them just carry on.
Yeah, some of them just look at you like...
Yeah, but when you're on the shop front, like, and your whole job is to sort of help, because it's not like we were in Curry's buying a washing machine for context, so it's not something you just like go into the back, pick it out from the
It's
shelves.
a fucking good washing machine, by the way. Sorry.
Okay.
So, me not being the most confident with social speaking,
Hang on, I wish I picked.
Actually-
I hope I picked that up.
I wouldn't. I had to make the move. We walked up and down that shop about 3 times.
What? Because you wouldn't go and
Yeah.
speak. Seriously,
I
Mason?
said to Mace,
You
like,
wouldn't have done it.
I said to Mace,
You're more confident than both me and Bailey put together.
I said, all you got to do is just start the conversation, because that's the main bit I hate. Once we're in a conversation, I'm fine, but it's the initial hello.
Yeah. Hello.
I hate it. So I was like, all you got to do is start talking, and I'll take over and mention all the washing machine stuff. But no, he was like, no, too many people. That's too many for me.
I get
You know
it.
what I'm like
And
with
so
groups
I ended up
anyway.
having to go over. Obviously, I chose the woman because it's like less intimidating.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, oh hi, yeah. Could you help? Would like pick up a washing machine and tumbler? The typical awkward like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I need something.
Help, please.
Help me. I want this one.
You know what I'm like with groups anyway? I don't like groups of people. If it's an individual person I'm talking to, I'm fine.
Yeah, but
Maybe 2, that's
the
it.
fact I was able to do it.
Yeah, fair fucking play.
Fucking kahunas have grown, babe.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say hold on to your balls, you can actually do it.
Fuck you, I always could. I just need 2 hands now, 1 for each hand.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Ugh.
I can almost juggle with my 3.
Huh? Which one?
Be your 3.
No, I'm joking. Don't think too much, George.
Okay. I'm gay. You can't say things like that because I won't understand.
You've seen it all before, babe.
Anyway,
Help me.
that's it for this week. All right, we've gone on for an hour now, guys. Well, ish. Oh my god, I don't even know what I'm doing now.
We're saying, if you enjoy watching, please leave a like, rating, follow, and subscribe for more. If you like to message on WhatsApp, it's 07.
Say it faster.
And did I get the first?
Hang on.
numbers
Shall
right
I? If you don't know it, shall I say what it is?
there? Yeah, because
So okay, you do
Why
the
would I
closer.
know the number?
No. Okay, so do the closer. Go on, and I'll just fill in where you don't know.
From the start.
So that's it for this week's pod, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Next week we've got
I haven't planned that far ahead.
exactly. So it's spontaneous, and I hope you tune in and it's good because we don't know. So it could be fun. If you're listening to this one late and you can see what the next one's called, then you've already know more than us. So
Magician.
anyway, if you enjoy, please share with your friends and to rate the podcast, preferably 5 stars. But if you do anything less, then we won't like you. So it's up to you which one you want to choose. And yeah, like and follow us on everything else, like Twitter. No, wrong.
Instagram.
Instagram and
TikTok.
TikTok, and Apple
Unfiltered
Music.
Friendship, the podcast.
Oh yes, the name. Unfiltered Friendship,
The podcast.
the podcast.
Yeah.
Dot
No.
com, dot
No.
org.
No. It's just Unfiltered Friendship, the podcast on Instagram and TikTok. What about...
If you would like to leave review questions or theories or stories, then you can do by messaging on WhatsApp at 07.
59111553
Thank you.
or
email us at unfilteredfriendship.
The- the Unfiltered Friendship
the podcast at gmail.com.
boom, Unfiltered Friendship, the podcast at gmail.com.
Slay.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm not after your job, I pray. I swear.
Did you just say a
What the
prayer?
fuck did you just say?
A prayer.
I swear and I promise. We're together. I pray.
A prayer. I understand. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Bye.
I feel really weird now that I haven't done it.
You haven't ended it in your head.
No, I haven't. I might need to actually just...
No,
You
it's
can
fine.
have the last bye.
Okay, go on.
Bye.
Bye.
Toodles.